Welcome to Myers Counseling Group Podcast. We offer mental health, substance abuse, and wellness information for the community. To find out more information and to access previous podcasts and other resources, visit us at myerscounseling.com. Hello. Today I'm going to be talking about social skills for special needs children. First, let's talk about what constitutes a special needs child. A special needs child is someone who may need special assistance because of a neurological, medical, or psychological disorder. Typically, children who fall in this category would be kids who are autistic, developmentally delayed, Down syndrome, ADHD, dyslexia, impulse control, depressed, or anxious. This is not an exclusive list, as well as a child may be struggling with more than one disorder. Special needs would also include children who have medical conditions or physical disabilities that may impede social interactions. Social skills refers to an ability to communicate and interact with others. This would include verbal and nonverbal communications. Social skills are essential for us coexisting with our fellow man. It's a basic human need, interacting with other human beings. And those are things that we really depend on a day-to-day basis, and we may even take for granted. Although it's referred to as a social skill, that meaning really transcends way beyond that. It's not just social. We're talking about employment, family, courtship, and really coexisting in a society that revolves around us being able to carry out this skill. These skills are essential in people being able to relate to one another. An example of a social skill would include a husband or wife not recognizing an emotion, such as anger, or if we're in an employment situation, interrupting a boss while he or she is talking, or making fun of a friend who may be sensitive about a particular area that he's being made fun of. These skills are usually developed at early ages, and as we get older, we learn and develop new skills as we're faced with new and different social situations. For special needs children, their challenges prevent them from learning and picking up on the nuances of social interaction. This creates challenges not only in current developmental stages, but it could also impede relationships later on in life if they're not mastered. Social skills help in areas such as conflict resolution, efficiency, happiness, and social engagement, just to name a few. So to further break this down, let's talk a little bit more in detail about verbal and nonverbal communications. Verbal communications is sharing of information by two or more individuals by speech. It's the most effective way we communicate. The use of sounds and words, which also include enunciation, tone, volume, stress, and emphasis on certain words, are all components of verbal communications. Just think how important this skill is. Anger, affection, frustration, happiness, disappointment, these are all verbal cues that, if missed, they can quickly turn a conversation in the wrong direction. Now, nonverbal communication is a little bit more complex than the verbal communication. This would include body positioning, facial expression, eye contact, tilting of a head, posture, and many, many other aspects that really would be way too time-consuming to list. These cues are just as important, if not more important, than verbal cues. They help give meaning and context to conversations and interactions. Most of these skills are learned with little effort throughout our life. We take it for granted. For special needs children, it could feel like going on a journey without a map. Roads keep changing and they find themselves lost and confused. We may need to make a shift in our thinking and how we approach helping these children in these situations. It's not that they choose to act inappropriately, they just don't know what's expected of them in social situations. They really just don't get it. So how we approach this is by breaking it down for kids. We discuss the many different parts to skills and determine a starting point for your child. So which behavior seems to present itself the most? By observing your child, you can see where he or she has the most difficulty. Is it listening, being patient, sharing, talking appropriately? If there is more than one, start with the skill that you feel most confident in addressing and that your child will have the most success with, or likelihood of success. And when you target a behavior, make it as concrete as possible. For example, if it is talking inappropriately, go over words that we do not use and discuss what we can say instead. So it's important to offer a replacement behavior if you're taking away one form of communication that your child is used to. You need to help him or her in coming up with an alternative means or ways to communicate. Your role is going to be very hands-on in helping them in this area. And again, I mentioned this is important. Be as concrete as possible. And it'll take some time, and it will take practice, and it will take reminders. When you do see them carrying out their communication successfully, make sure you praise them. Children are much more responsive to positive praise than negative praise. Interventions will vary with children's age. For younger children, you could use social stories. Social stories are short descriptions of a particular situation, event, or activity, which would include information what to expect in that situation and why. It's a story that your child will be starring in. Think of it that way. And this helps the youth rehearse situations and feel more in control. It adds elements of predictability. It's also helpful to go over these as much as you can. This is the way they learn, through repetition. Visual cues around the house, bedtime stories can also reinforce skills. Look for teachable moments. Remember, for some, it's going to be much more memorization than instinctual. For older youth, role-playing could work. Discussions, very candid discussions about what trials and errors that they saw or breakdowns that they saw in their social interactions. The younger we start with social skill trainings, the better it is for the youth. That doesn't mean an older child cannot learn new skills, but other factors come into play, such as lack of confidence or anxiety that they may have accumulated with years of failures. The longer this goes on, the less secure and confident they become. So again, we want to hit it really early. Perceived failures in this area does take its toll. They avoid social interactions, and again, think about this. Teenagers are much more self-conscious than children. I do want to reiterate, though, it's not impossible at any age. It just presents additional challenges. So that's important to remember. And look to practice these skills as much as possible. Playlands, parks, religious groups, park district pools, beaches. Those are just to name a few areas you could have them work on of their newly learned skills. It may require you to be hands-on and giving reminders before and during activity. Also processing afterward, what went wrong, what went right. Another aspect you could pay attention to is your own emotions. This is really important for you to be patient and manage your own frustrations and anger. If you're having trouble managing your emotions, it's not realistic to expect your child to do the same. Parents may need some outside help in addressing this concern with children. If your child is special needs, there can be a support group in your area with other kids of similar challenges. There are professionals who may specialize with working with special needs children. They themselves may be conducting some professional support groups. Consider individual and/or family counseling as well. This is a work in progress, and it's important to keep remembering that. It could take some time. Set realistic expectations for your child as well as yourself. I'm going to end this podcast with a quote, and I want to thank everyone for listening. Author Ralph Nichols: "The most basic of all human needs is the need to understand and to be understood." Thank you.